I think this is the third video I've done about the functions. There are many ways to understand the functions, and I encourage you to look into as many of them as possible, and also develop your own. They are simply ways of modeling and classifying certain groups of traits. When it comes to the function of introverted sensing, the word I always start with is maintenance. And this can be subdivided into different areas. Let's start simply. Day-to-day stuff. A high SI user is going to naturally do things like make sure chores around the house are done, go shopping before food in the fridge runs out. So the more literal maintenance tasks. Making sure that things are kept in good working order and that standards don't slip in that area. So that's a very basic way to spot high SI users. Obviously, other types will also be good at those things, but types with low SI, so ENTPs, ENFPs, INTPs, INFPs, generally speaking, will not be so good with those tasks. Obviously, everyone needs to get to grips with those things over time, but certain types just don't value them. They see it as some annoying thing that needs to be done. On the other hand, high SI users actually seem to enjoy keeping things running smoothly in that area. It's very satisfying to them. Self-maintenance. So this includes things like making sure you go to bed at a reasonable time and have enough sleep in general, not skipping on eating or showering, essentially just looking after yourself well. A high SI user is the person who is like the grandparent who asks, have you eaten? Are you getting enough fresh air and exercise? Are you sleeping enough? Things that sound boring and easily dismissed, yet are often the components of a happy and healthy life. It's important to not confuse this concept of self-maintenance with making sure you're well put together or are regularly going to the gym. When you consider types like ENTJs and ENFJs that have introverted sensing as their worst or blind spot function, they're often going to be very well put together. They can be very organized and also very much value the sensory aspects of life, including exercise and working out. The issue they'll often have is pushing themselves too hard, neglecting the simple and basic things involved in self-care. Even if they are into exercising and keeping fit, it can often be quite intense and extreme, and not so much part of a healthy, balanced life. Routines, habits, and comfort. INTPs and INFPs have SI in the third slot, and I've noticed they both enjoy their creature comforts, their routines, their habits. Most of the time these are habits in their physical life, as opposed to being routined in their thinking. They are anything but predictable in their thinking. There are many benefits to having habits and routines, but there's also this concept of known pleasures. I've noticed this weird thing where many INTPs will order the same thing each time from a particular restaurant, or maybe they'll wear the same outfits all the time. Wearing the same outfit every time is a reflection of wanting convenience and not having to spend time and energy thinking about something they consider to be quite mundane and boring. But in the case of ordering the same meal each time, when you like something and you know that you like it, you get this anticipatory enjoyment. In many ways, you have more pleasure when you know a nice experience is coming, as opposed to mixing things up and taking a risk, such as ordering a meal that you may or may not like. So high or valued SI users take comfort from a certain level of predictability, and they like to indulge in known pleasures. This isn't the same as not enjoying or seeking variety. It's just a case of also not being bored by the same kinds of pleasures. Introverted sensing and extroverted intuition. I'm going to talk about the function axes in more detail at some point, but let me briefly mention it here. The function of NE is often focused on possibilities, acquiring new information, new perspectives, or looking at the same thing from a different side. It can involve taking things from different areas and combining them in novel ways. Basically, new, innovative, creative. These are the kind of buzzwords you'll often hear. Since the function of SI is the opposite of that, or the counterbalance to it, it can often seem kind of boring by comparison. I think to see it this way does it a great disservice. In many ways, high SI users greatly value learning from the past, learning from experience, dwelling on those things until all of the lessons are milked from them. So many people get stuck in a rut, don't try something new, don't experiment, take the way things are as the way things should be. They settle. High NE users show us that it doesn't have to be that way. They push things forward. However, it's also the case, and in equal measure, that people don't learn from their mistakes. They repeat, almost to the point of being comical, the mistakes of the past, of history. In their rush to jump onto the next thing, they ignore wisdom that is staring them right in the face. They lack consistency, follow-through, dedication. That is where the function of SI comes in. It is an essential mindset and approach that needs to exist in the world. Please let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are on the function of SI and the way you personally understand it. Anytime I see a nugget of wisdom down in the comments, which is pretty often, it will many times miraculously make its way into a video. Also, feel free to check out our social media links below. We have our Patreon, where you can donate, our website, which offers services including being typed by us. Then there are individual social media links, such as an Instagram, a blog, and even a TikTok.